Good afternoon, professors, Mr. Chairman, and audience. So I'm Khairil Azwan from University of Kuala Lumpur, Ipoh Perak, and this research is in collaboration also with the University of Malaya, Faculty of Medicine. So my research is titled "A Whey-based high-protein diet promotes the best body weight and blood sugar control when compared with other types of diet in male Sprague Dawley rats." Okay, so for introduction, so the body weight and insulin resistance or blood sugar control has something very important to do with the metabolic syndrome. So what is the metabolic syndrome? Metabolic syndrome is a cluster of signs and symptoms which is mainly caused by diet. Other than metabolic syndrome, there's also insulin resistance, obesity, and other metabolic dysfunction, which can contribute to a diet high in sugar. Apart from a diet high in sugar, there's also a diet which was found to cause this disease, which is the high fat diet. Although diet has its defined role in the establishment of these diseases, sedentary lifestyle coupled with low physical activity are also key contributors to developing insulin resistance and cardiovascular disease. Insulin resistance and central obesity are recognized as the main risk factors, with several other denominators such as the hypertension, triglyceride levels, low high density lipoprotein blood levels, and hyperglycemia. So from this graph, you can see that the most obese people in the Asian region is in my country, which is the Malaysia, okay? And in a clinical study in the USA, nearly 35% of US citizens with 50% older than 60 years old suffer from metabolic syndrome. And in Malaysia, a recent study showed that obesity and its complication has been a serious health problem facing the Malaysian population for the last decade. By some estimations, the Malaysian population are overweight, 40% above our Asian counterpart. So it is very important to identify the diet which can help with obesity and metabolic syndrome. So our research focus on these two objectives: to identify what kind of diet promotes the best body weight control and what kind of diet promotes the best blood glucose control. Materials and methods. So we take 35 Sprague Dawley rats, male Sprague Dawley rats, and we divide them into 5 groups. And each group we feed them with a particular and specific diet. So the first group, we feed them with the control diet, the normal diet which we use to feed the animals. You can buy it in the animal or pet shop. The second one is high fat diet. Third group, we feed with high protein diet. Fourth group, we feed with high sugar diet. And the fifth group with high starch diet. And we feed them for 8 weeks. And every week, we take their weight and also their blood glucose measurement. So this is the diet that we use. So the control group, we use the normal red chow with the gold coin brand. Okay, the nutrient mostly is composition is the carbohydrates, which is the 64%. The other 4 diet, we make it ourselves. So the high sugar group, we take 50% of the, is composed of 50% of the normal red chow and we combine with 50% of table sugar. And high starch group, we take 50% sticky rice flour and combine with the control of normal red chow. The high protein group, we take whey protein, commercial whey protein, which is used by bodybuilders. The brand is GNC 100% whey protein advanced at 50-50 ratio. We combine with the normal red chow. And high fat group, we take 50% of palm oil and combine them with 50% normal red chow. So here are the composition: 96% carbohydrates, 83% carbohydrates in the high starch group. High protein group is 52% protein, and high fat group composed of 35% fat. Now we come to the result. Okay, now we can see from the graph that the high protein group shows the least mean weight gain. So this graph shows the mean weight gain in grams for a total of 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, they actually gain weight. And there is significant difference in the mean weight gain for high protein group if compared to other groups. So we can see here that the high protein group has the least mean weight gain. The second result shows the glucometer reading, the blood glucose level progress in 8 weeks. And here we can see that the lower spectrum of the lines is dominated by the red color line. And this red color line is actually the high protein group. And the upper spectrum is dominated by the gray colored lines, which is the high starch group. So from this graph, it can be concluded that as the weeks go up to 8 weeks, the glucometer reading tends to become lower in the high protein group. So some discussion. Our high protein red feed uses whey protein supplements used by bodybuilders. Many Malaysians are beginning to be health conscious and are gym goers. These types of protein supplements are quite rampant and easily available and in usage by average health conscious people. And several diets for promotion of weight loss nowadays are focused on a high protein intake. In one report, 20 to 25% increase in lean protein energy source was shown to promote leaner body mass composition, and several scientific reports also observed that a diminution in total body weight occurs upon protein consumption higher than 50 to 55%. So the result shown in figure 1 agrees with these findings, because in our study, the high protein diet contains 52% total protein. The second part of the finding is that it can also be concluded that high protein diet can be used to prevent metabolic syndrome. A study using 50% total milk protein of the diet shows confirmation that the gut hormones are involved in the metabolism of different protein content. So it can be noted that whey in this, what we use in this study, comes from milk, because milk is 50% whey and 50% casein. Another study concluded that rats administered with diet high in protein could prevent metabolic syndrome. A recent clinical study also reported that consumption of low-calorie diet plus largely whey protein for 45 days showed significant weight loss, maintenance of muscle mass, and positive changes in metabolic parameters. Dietary fats also remain a strong factor in weight management, but the type and quantity of protein can also be important through its effects on food consumption. And the third point that this study highlights is the control of blood sugar with whey protein. Figure 2 showed the high protein group blood glucose dominates the lower spectrum of the line chart. This observation suggests that protein has some glucose stabilizing properties. One research shows a high protein diet as a potential way to ameliorate hyperglycemia. This can empower patients to control their blood sugar without pharmacological intervention. A 2018 research concluded that a diet composed of low carbohydrate and high protein macronutrient ratio will bring a positive impact on the glucose level of patients of diabetes mellitus type 2. In one study, it was noted that whey supplementation also helped reduce postprandial blood glucose level and help in suppressing the appetite. So in conclusion, our study suggests a whey-based high-protein diet promotes the best body weight control with moderate blood sugar control when compared with other type of diets. Abiding to the general health recommendations, such as eating a balanced diet and having moderate physical exercise, supplementation of whey protein meal or meal replacement will be helpful in reducing weight and regulating blood glucose levels. So that is my presentation. Thank you for listening and thank you for your attention.
I would like to ask about the feeding
Yes.
you give to the rat. Have you
Yes.
measured the amount or just let them eat?
Yes, we measure the amount because every time we put the what you call this the food, they finish it and we have to weigh it. So the weight of the food, the amount of food is more or less the same for every group.
And you have noticed which one that they like the best?
They like the best the high protein and the high starch.
High starch.
Yes, the least is the high fat because maybe it's oily. Yes, palm oil.
And have you calculate for the caloric intake?
Or calorie intake, we didn't what do you call this, calculate. We only focus on the macronutrient. But the making of the food, we make sure that it is the same amount of grams or weight used.
You have any plan to study in the human being?
In a human being, it's quite difficult because we have to make the human eat the same thing for 8 weeks, so it is quite difficult.
Okay, just the assumption.
Yes, yes.
Any comments? Okay, so that's very interesting for your study. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.